Hi, everyone. Awesome.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you.
I'm wearing green. Is anyone? Oh, yes, I see you are, Jeff. Nice.
Yep.
This morning, Todd was going through his closet, and all he could come up with is these bright tennis shoes. And he's like, "Are these yellow or green?" Like, no, you're good. Hi, Tom. It's nice to see you on here.
And Tamar, it's nice to see you too. Welcome back.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Nice to see everyone. I've been so busy with work. Sorry, haven't been able to make it lately.
Oh, we're just so happy you can join us today.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Looks like we have a couple people adding in as we go. For anybody who is returning, nice to see you again this week. And we are so happy you could join us. A couple of Zoom rules. First, please mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we love to see all your smiling faces. And please type all questions and comments into the chat. This is just a refresher. We'd love to hear from you. We do send out a recap email after our Lunch and Learn each week to everybody who RSVP'd. And to our whole Lunch and Learn database that shows all of our we have a question of the day and all of your answers. We love reading those. We do see you if you interact in our chat. So please ask questions away during the whole presentation. We love hearing from you. A quick update from Autism Tree. We have now reached over 557,000 people. I love that we reached that over 550,000 goal. That's through all of our social media platforms since March of last year. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it, we do it. Our posts have been shared over 931 times, which is incredible. So thank you to everyone who is sharing our content. We post videos, we post these lunch and learns every week, a lot of content, and of course our virtual events that happen each week. So thanks to everyone who's keeping connected to us during this time. On our YouTube channel, we now have 351 videos. Please subscribe today if you haven't had the chance yet. It's super easy and takes 1 minute. It's a great way we do post videos on the weekly basis. We've posted 295 of those videos since March 12th of last year, which, oh my gosh, it's the 17th. So it's been over a year ago, and we posted 295 videos since then. It's incredible. So thank you to everyone, all of our program managers, all of our volunteers. This is an amazing way to stay connected to our kids and families. We do a couple video series. One's our Reading with Autism Tree series of our volunteers reading children's books to kids. We posted 105 of those videos and reached over 44,000 people just through that series. We also have our HBF at Home series where we share different fun activities and low-cost activities that you can do at home with your kids. So that's really fun. Thank you to everyone who's helped with those. We also have provided 228 virtual events since March of last year. And we have 23 events coming up between now and the end of April, although we're constantly adding new events to our calendar. So if you want to get involved, please reach out to me. These 200 events that we do a year fall under our 20 different programs. 19 of those programs we were able to switch onto virtual platforms. So it's been really incredible. Thank you to everyone who supported us during this time. And yeah, that's amazing. So thank you. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Dana, who's our co-founder and volunteer executive director. She'll introduce our 43rd Lunch and Learn special guest today.
Hi, TPF family. I just want to take a moment for everyone to just breathe in that we've been doing this a year together, which is fully incredible. And I always think that it's no accident, the sequence of what speaker shows up to kind of just inspire us today. And I don't know about how you're feeling, you guys, but I just feel extra emotional today. Maybe it's just the collectiveness of reflecting on not only, the last year that we've been doing this global pandemic together, but we I want to give Rebecca huge gratitude, not only for her level of dedication to putting on all of our virtual programs, which is fully remarkable, but also just she has worked tirelessly with John Hickey on transitioning us out of an office. We were paying double our rent last January, and then we didn't use our office like anyone else in the world because of the pandemic. So it was really a sucker punch. It was just like, okay, we cannot keep doing this. So I was at 17 years of stuff, and I just feel it's really, there's no possible way I could put in words how touched and grateful I am, because just the way that Rebecca, even when she bring me a bin of stuff, I just felt like there was so much care in what she chose to keep for me. And I could never do it. I would keep everything. I had a whole closet over here, floor to ceiling, that was stuff that I had to even get rid of over here. So it just, 17 years, it's hard to, it's like a child growing up, right? We raised one generation of kids. Cheryl's daughter's off at college, my son's off at college, and now we have a second generation coming along, and that's something I want you guys to know. Hi, Otto. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I'm wearing green today, Otto. I just, I think it's just incredible when you look at, chapters of your life. And today, when I look at the chapter with Cheryl, I just remember my friend Laura Bonafide Odom, who many of you know. We grew up together, her family. Hi, Jeff. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Was, our whole fundraising source in the Bay Area. And she's been a board member, and she usually comes always to our annual meeting, which we spend a month doing every year at this time. You'll be seeing in the next e-news all of our program managers' reports. But it's Laura that said to me, Dana, you have to meet this woman, Cheryl. And, Cheryl, I think Laura doesn't do that to me. So in 17 years, I mean, maybe once or twice. And I go, okay. So I flew up there, and we were working on a bunch of stuff. We meet Cheryl for dinner. And I know, Cheryl, that we met with you a minimum of 3 hours. And we've just been together ever since. And Cheryl just kind of laid out what you're going to learn today. And, what always touches me is when I have time with Cheryl, I 100% have certain kids in our foundation that I'm like, oh, we need them to go to Cheryl's program. And so it's really interesting, because after our first dinner, then I went back up there with Garrett, and we met with some of her staff that were helping her do the program that she started at SAP for high schoolers. And Garrett was so excited, he kind of refused to leave Cheryl until Garrett demanded we got 3 kids in. Like, he kind of just like, yep. He did us like, I'm not leaving until you guys will take 3 of our kids.
Yeah, he advocated. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was him, not me. And I cherish that memory with you, Cheryl, because he saw the value, and he was not going to leave until he was writing down kids' names, like he wanted to be able to do your program. And it's definitely very emotional, everybody, because our kids, as we all know, mean so much to us. Everything we do is, and we're trying to help each family, each kid, all the time at Autism Tree. And so each one of our ATPF families that has gone through Cheryl's program has such a story and means so much. So I think, today she's starting her own new chapter of this program, and I'm just so grateful of what's happening. And my son Garrett is turning 21, so I'm not going to be there on Saturday for this first class, and I would never miss it except for Garrett's turning 21. And I'm thrilled because Rebecca's going, and she is meant to be leading this group on the Autism Tree side with Cheryl. And I just want to say thank you, Rebecca. I'm really blessed by that too. So we usually, Cheryl, always have a question that we start out with. Sure. And I'm going to ask you, you don't have to answer the question, but you can. And then I love when everyone types it in. It lets us connect with each other. And after we send out an email and we share what people shared. And we keep doing the email after the Lunch and Learns because it's really well opened and read. So the question is, for everybody, have you ever made a decision that changed your entire life? And if so, what was it? And Cheryl, I'd love to let you share your answer on that, if you would like.
Well, that one's easy. It's this program. Literally, this program has literally changed my life for the better. And I can't be more thrilled. I just wish I would have done it 20 years ago. But then a friend of mine said 20 years ago, it wouldn't be as vibrant as it is now because we didn't have enough diagnosing, with the science and everything. And now is the time that we jump in and take leadership in doing these programs that really help with our kiddos that are struggling on the spectrum. So yeah, this is
I
it.
love that. I would be shocked if you didn't say that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's a good question. That's like no brainer.
Well, when I saw it, of course, it was Autism Tree Project Foundation when Garrett was
Right.
diagnosed. And Cheryl and I were talking on the pre-call, and I was saying, what's so special is I know Cheryl supports the vision at Autism Tree that we have together 100%. And I, since the day I met Cheryl, support her vision 100%. And I think that's what makes the relationship really special, Cheryl, is we go through different chapters and different challenges, but
Yep.
we always know that we believe in each other. And I knew that you wouldn't give up. And
No.
I'm not immune to wanting to give up everybody. I mean, I get really, really tired and really emotional and really exhausted. I'm very human.
Yes.
But I have to say that I'm extraordinarily grateful for people like Cheryl who make me, that I know believe in me, and then also that we have this synergy where she's taking on doing this other thing that actually really marries very well with Autism Tree, because it's great, Cheryl, like you said, we've always been focused on early intervention in the preschool screenings, and we've been doing that for 17 years, and now our kids are wanting, I always look at Cheryl's program as early intervention for our high school students to really decide what they're going to do after high school. And Cheryl's program is just extraordinary and a huge gift, and something I always see as like this amazing partnership, Cheryl, for our kids. And we have, Rebecca, how many teenagers in our program now at Autism Tree?
We have 200, over 200
God.
In the
That's
teen
amazing.
program. Yeah. And it really, honestly, what's so cool and that I love about the Autism Tree family is it truly started the teen program with a young man named Derek, Tracy Shepler's son, who you know, and a young woman named Sabine, Victoria Eichardt's daughter. And they just wanted to have their own time to do things together, like without parents. So they went to a movie together and they had so much fun. And I remember getting text and saying, oh, Sabine and Derek had so much fun and no parents, and they want to do a program at Autism Tree. And I was a wreck. I thought, oh my God, no parents, really? Okay. And now it's 200 kids and it's awesome. But I remember being extraordinarily nervous in the beginning that that teens held their line this whole time, that they did not want parents there. And then we just had to trust that whatever parents drop their kids off, they know their child, it's going to be okay. And it was structured enough. But by the time, we met Cheryl, we've been growing that program for a while. So it's just, it's really exciting to me. Whoever's on this call right now that knows kids that are going to be in high school, this is an extra big gift for you to really get to know Cheryl today. Cheryl, everything I do in my intro is a reflection of you. I hope you like this video. I just felt like it kind of like brought to life what you do on some level with these kids. So we're going to play, it's 2 minutes.
Thank you.
I have someone on the spectrum here. My daughter is 15 years old. My son, who is 18.
My oldest son is on the spectrum.
I currently have an autistic child.
I have a 4-year-old daughter on the spectrum.
We're hoping to prove that just because we're on the spectrum doesn't mean we can't do what anyone else can do. It is definitely a great feeling knowing that we are inspiring other people that are on the spectrum.
Just because you're on the autism spectrum doesn't mean that you can't go through life, that you can achieve things, you can get a job and be happy about that.
After 3 years of spending time searching for a job fruitlessly, I was able to get in touch with the folks at Autism at Work and was able to participate in a program that allowed me to mobilize and expose my talents to individuals who recognized my ability rather than my perceived disability.
The big benefit for businesses that want to adopt some of these programs like we're trying to do is these individuals bring a unique perspective to problem solving, to being able to focus on details, for being extremely transparent in intent and actions.
Having a very diverse and inclusive workforce is necessary in driving success.
The things that make someone on the spectrum successful in the workplace are of benefit to every single person here.
By accepting this idea of neurodiversity, we're getting companies to value different ways of thinking for their employees and for how they do business in the world.
If your blinders are on and you're looking at talent in a very narrow corridor, you're going to be missing out what is in the periphery. And what is in the periphery are individuals that have the ability to innovate, because they say that innovation comes from the edges.
I love that.
Yep.
Cheryl, it just nailed it, right?
It did. It's exactly why, you know, when I started off at SAP, when they started launching the Autism at Work program as a mentor to new hires that were coming in, and it just, a light bulb went off. I'm like, we need to do earlier intervention. We need to do before they are even in high school, before they're leaving and going off to college. And that's how it started.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I had no idea I was going to feel, this emotional today. For some reason, Rebecca, I only see Cheryl up on the screen. I don't know what's happening. See you? Thank you. Yeah, this just sort of means everything to me. Like when I, watch that video I just showed you, it's like, I'm so grateful that Jeff is here today with us and Otto. I'm glad everyone's here, but they've been on the front line with our neurodiversity and our neuroscience conference. And, we're all one team. And I think we forget sometimes how much we put into this. And I do want everyone to know, since I found out about Autism at Work, it's just something that I carry in the deepest parts of me, because this is what I want for the future. My favorite video made about autism in 17 years, hands down, is the one they showed during the Olympics on a Sunday. It was 7 minutes, I believe. That's why I never show it on a Lunch and Learn, but maybe we'll attach it, Rebecca, if you don't mind. It's my favorite. And it is about SAP and all these people in the global workforce. So they're working in other countries, they're doing all kinds of jobs, and SAP is showing that they're getting paid, what any employee would be paid for the work they're doing. They're living on their own. I mean, it's just everything. That
one was a beautiful video.
Yeah, it's my favorite. If you have one that's your favorite, Cheryl, please let us know, but that's definitely my favorite. So, I hope everyone knows or is reaffirmed today with me on the Autism Tree side that there's this is just everything. This is how we want neurodiversity perceived in the world. Yeah. And what I love about the SAP stuff, Cheryl, is it is global. And 1% of their workforce would be, I believe, 600 people, and it's taken years to get to 100. So it's not easy.
No.
But we're doing it, and Cheryl's been on the front line, and it's just very emotional for me to share Cheryl with you, because I haven't been with you, in so long, Cheryl, and now you're starting this new chapter, and just Cheryl reached out to me, and then now the kids that are going to be in your program, it's so very, very special. And I pick out a quote for you. Thank you. And it's, people who see the best in others are my favorite. This quote nails you, Cheryl. There's not even one person.
Thank you.
That I wouldn't trust you with. And that I realize is very rare, because Cheryl, I know we don't just trust our children with anybody, period. But there's not even one person in my life I wouldn't trust you with. And that is a very, very beautiful thing, because some of our kids are really complicated in what they need and the support and all of that. And I knew without one shadow of a doubt, you run to every family, and that just lights me up. And I know that's a part of why I'm so emotional today. And when we look at the photos, we've just also had so much fun together, Cheryl. No matter what we do, we always have fun when we're working together. And there's Lisa and I with you.
Yeah, I'm like tearing up because of those great memories.
I know. I mean, that's how I feel today. I feel very emotional because this work is just so important. It's our kids' futures.
It is.
And that's what it is. And I just couldn't be more blessed to have everyone meet Cheryl today and to tell Cheryl, thank you, thank you, thank you. Otto, who's on the call today, is going to be going to the program.
Look at all those great photos. I love it.
Yeah, Otto, these are some of the kids that went back in 2017.
Yeah,
I don't
wow.
know if some of you know, Cheryl, what was the boy's name that's there from the Monarch School? Christopher, right?
Yes,
So
that's Christopher's on the previous photo. Yeah, he was the one that flew up.
Yeah, the far left one, it's
right. Yeah, right there with me in the picture. There's him.
Yeah.
And
go back to that one picture, Rebecca, if you would. If any of you guys were at the luncheon, there's Cheryl with the award we gave her, and Christopher. It's a third photo over, and he's wearing glasses and he's hugging her. He was a homeless young man, him and his mother. I got a call on like a Saturday, and it was the craziest thing. It was a school nurse from the Monarch School, and it was just a really one of our more complicated things to navigate. And yet, there's no way, I would be honest with you guys, that I would have taken it on if it wasn't for Cheryl on the other end of what we were trying to do together. But it was a lot of logistics. First off, we had to fly there, and he'd had never been on an airplane, and he had to travel with his nurse. I never met Christopher's mom. It was just, you know, the level of difficulty was very, very high. But
he had a hard time. He had a hard time on his first flight too. His ears really bothered him. We didn't know if he was going to come back, and he did.
And the truth is, I mean, I was on the flights with him and our team, and the truth is, the whole reason that Christopher endured is all because of Cheryl. And what I want to say that I experienced when I watched Cheryl with our high schoolers and all the high schoolers that were in her program is, you can go back to that other slide because this is all the current stuff, but when we were doing this class, you guys see all the kids there at the Palo Alto campus. We're in this classroom, and you know, there's a few rows of kids, and I felt like, you know, they're probably a little like this, most of them, because it's overwhelming and new. And we were there, you know, 3 hours, and they got to eat lunch together, and they got these Autism at Work badges, and it was really about sharing who they were and learning how to work in teams. And what really blew my mind, if I was to capture like a photo, it'd be like each of one of those kids is like in a little flower pot, and the seed was under the dirt. And just in the first session that I went to, and I went to more than one, I saw this each session where a little sprout would come up.
Yep.
Literally every single one of those kids.
Yep.
And when they walked out, they walked a little bit taller, and they were kind of also referencing each other, like they're in it together. And I saw that every session I've ever seen you do, Cheryl. It gives me the chills because I can't say I've seen that.
I know, and that's what I tell everybody when I talk about the program is the change that happens after every session. And when they come back for the next one, you're like, wow. I mean, their confidence and their socialization and exchanging phone numbers, you know, with each other, and just building their own community is so important.
Amazing. I'm going to bring up the last slide and then turn it over to you. The last slide is our pictures with Cheryl while she's now starting something new. So this is just last month in February, and Cheryl is working with, you'll see Charlotte in that picture. I haven't got to meet Charlotte in person. I hope Rebecca does, maybe on Saturday.
She will. Yes.
But she seems fantastic. And then the other ones are from Rich and his son. You got to meet them, and they're coming into the program. And his son's name is Brett, and he's 16. And then Otto's on this call today, which is great. Otto with his mom, Shelly. So I just, you know, I love every family, and I think it's no accident that Brett and Otto are going to do this program with you. And It makes me so happy. I do feel like crying, and that's how happy I am. So thank you.
Yes. No, thank you. Thank you for the very warm introduction, and hello, everybody. I'll give you a little bit about myself and how this all began. Like I said, I worked at SAP. I was actually there for about 6.5 years, and noticed that they were starting an Autism at Work program. And not even knowing my own daughter was actually on the spectrum. She was not diagnosed until almost 18. She's very high functioning. And she's 23 now. So, you know, within the last 5 years, that's been our new life. But I always would volunteer for stuff that to me is really need of a purpose. And when I started working with these employees, I started becoming more of an advocate for them as well, because joining SAP at the time was 90,000 employees. And it's really hard for anybody to come on board, get your roots down, get everything you should be doing. What questions should you ask your manager? So becoming more of that advocate. And then a light bulb went off in my head and I said, we need to do this earlier intervention. We need to help them get prepared for when they go into the work world, what it's going to be like, when they have to interview, when they have to talk to somebody, you know, in the hallways or by the water cooler, called elevator pitching. You know, it just, to me, it was, there's no program out there doing this. And I still scratch my head and I go, I don't know why, because it's so needed. You know, the younger kiddos get the support, but we're starting to not see it as much as when they start getting, you know, into high school and off to college. And so we really need to do that. So I'm going to share my slides and then we can do a Q&A afterwards. And I'm more than happy, you know, if anybody ever wants to reach out to me, I can talk to them further. So, so my new adventure, my daughter and I moved out of the Bay Area. We're up past Sacramento. We're about 30 miles north of Sacramento in a town called Rockland. And through we have a horse, and through that we met Maria, who is Charlotte's mother, who boards there. And I started talking to her about really wanting to do this program again, not even knowing what they do. And they actually run Applied Family Solutions, which is a lot like Autism Tree Project Foundation. Is they do earlier intervention and diagnostic, mainly through insurance companies. So this is exactly where they wanted to start heading, is hitting the high school level, and boom, really within, after a conversation, we launched it and we're starting this Saturday. So I'm really excited. So here's so at SAP, which I got really excited about, I was actually able to meet Temple Grandin. If nobody has heard of her, I hope you have. There's a really good movie out there with Claire Danes playing her that she won a few Emmys for, but it's a very great movie to watch about Temple Grandin and the life and what she struggled with and to how she's accomplished so many great things. But I love this quote. What would happen if an autism gene was eliminated from the gene pool? You would have a bunch of people standing around in a cave, chatting and socializing and not getting anything done, which is so true. I love that quote. I know this is a little bit old information stats, but it really shows you kind of back from 1990 to, and this is all in the Bay Area, you know, the heart of Silicon Valley, to 2017, like how many cases to how fast it grown because of being able to diagnose, to me was just phenomenal. And I think that's why we're starting to talk about it a lot more. We're starting to see a lot more programs about it because it's become a reality. And when I look at this and I look at Silicon Valley, we would not have Silicon Valley if we didn't have people on the spectrum. We wouldn't have it if people weren't neurodiverse. And so I look at that, it's a huge gift because we need to have those out-of-box thinkers to keep us innovating and going throughout this crazy world. I don't know if you can see some of this, but so the student participation, the students are selected, this is when we did it within the school year, the students are selected by their faculty or their parent or guardian. I've actually had some students that their high school wasn't involved in the program, but the parents worked with the school and actually were able to have their kids come to this program. So basically they were participating during their junior and senior year. Some I even had at sophomore level. And again, it was all up to faculty. And so the goal was to come junior and senior year, so they have a 2-year rotation. And that really gets them prepared for when they have to go into either college, vocational, into a job, you know, whatever's going to help them get prepared for out of high school. We met for once a month for 3 hours during the school year, September through May, for more of a career exposure and skill building experience. It was really about, you know, what is their passion? What do they see themselves doing in a job? And how can that passion relate to some kind of a work environment for them? And because we all know if we're passionate about something, you're going to do really well and you want to go to work. So that was kind of the emphasis. So like I said, you know, we inspire students to pursue their passion. We help aiming that bridge between the transition from high school into college or into the workforce. And we liked, and the goal to here up here in Sacramento and area is to start working with corporations and doing that same experience, exposing them to the corporate environment, what it's like to be at a large corporation, at a small corporation, at different types of facilities. And definitely to be, you know, to help really self-advocate for themselves. And the biggest thing is I want them to have fun. I didn't want this to feel like, oh, we're at another class teaching, you know, conference. It was more, I wanted it engaging, interactive, and not like you got homework to do. And for the next session, or, you know, we're going to be taking tests. We're not going to do any of that. And so we even had, here's Feroz VR. He was one of the executives at SAP. His son was actually diagnosed very early on with autism. So he's very passionate about this as well. But I would bring in executives to talk about their career path, how they make a decision to go where they were. And students would get, you know, inspired by that. And they'd ask really great questions. So it was very engaging. And all the speakers were very warm and genuine. And they actually loved, after meeting all the students afterwards, I'd always get a really nice email that they were really thankful and how can they ever participate anymore. So it was really great. So SAP in Palo Alto is a huge campus. There's probably 23 buildings. And as you can see, this is a group photo with some of the parents, some of our colleagues that were on the Autism at Work program. This gentleman here in the green, he's right here. He's got another homeless, amazing story. And then there's students back here, there's students over here, and all the employees at SAP. And it was just like everybody blend in. It was really, really amazing. And that's probably one of their most favorite things to do because they could pick any food they wanted. And the frozen yogurt was like the best for them. And again, as this one day the monitor didn't work, so everybody kind of had to surround me, and I was showing them some topics that we were discussing that day. But you can see they're just really engaged, and they really are there, and they want to be there. I've had one student that would always be checking his time. But the first day he came, he didn't really want to be there, and I told him, you don't have to. And this is not a forced program. And after the third session, he wasn't telling me what the time was anymore. And to me, I'm like, and I actually questioned him on that, and he goes, yeah, because I do want to be here. So, you know, it shows them kind of releasing their comfort zone and making it more, realizing that they're not the only one who's on the spectrum in this world, and that other people are like them, and they have amazing gifts. The fun things that I like to do a lot with them is some design thinking projects, and I put them in odd groups of numbers because it forces that communication. It forces, not forces, I don't like that word, but it really does help them communicate as a group, as a team, working with different personalities like you would at the workforce, and just really thinking out of the box. And it was interesting. I had one time in the spaghetti and marshmallow challenge, one just didn't want to participate and their team didn't win. And they brought it up and I said, what do you think happened? And they said, well, Mark didn't participate. And he said, well, I just don't like his personality. So then we had a discussion about that. Like, how do you work with that in the workforce? Because there's going to be that kind of a situation. And it was very much of an engagement and a conversation about the situations that arise. This is one of my favorites. So we did a lot of elevator pitching, and ironically, everybody would love to get up there and pitch. So I'm going to play this. I'm hoping if you can't hear it, let me know. I don't know how to fix that, but we'll try it.
So Cheryl, it sounds very quiet. I can't hear it on my end.
We can't hear it, Cheryl.
You can't hear it at all?
No.
Bummer. So basically it was him just making up something, but talking about like he had a job there and talked about his role. And it was just a really great interaction. It's teaching them just to on the fly. You're meeting somebody in the elevator at work. Hey, what do? You start that conversation because it's also building your network within a corporation. There's a lot of times how you advance up in the ladder of your career. And so it's just really important, not just to walk down the hall with your head down, but trying to really engage. Again, how we collaborate a lot, with support from corporate management within the corporations, school districts. San Jose State University was a huge part of our program. The students that were studying for speech and pathology would actually come and help be mentors during the sessions. And they actually started their own mentor private outside of the program, free of charge. And they had about 16 of the students that actually participated with them, that they brought them onto campus, they gave them a tour, and they just worked with them individually. It was really an amazing partnership. The Department of Rehabilitation, of course, is, we want to have this whole universe connection. Our volunteers from within the corporation would help me with assist with some of the activities. We saw that parent and guardian would actually have to come and accompany the students. They can't be dropped off because that's a liability issue for the corporate side. Transportation was provided by either the school district or individuals that would come there. And then all the emergency contact information was kept with the faculty and the parent and guardian. And that was very confidential. So as you can see, when I started back in 2015, I had 7 students in 2 high schools. And you can see how much it grew after every year up to the biggest one was from 2018 to 19. I had 40 students, a wait list, and 11 different Bay Area high schools, anywhere from San Jose all the way through San Francisco, throughout the whole Bay Area. And now we're starting again. We're starting at 10 students. And hopefully we know that's going to grow. And this was all just done by word of mouth. It wasn't any advertisement, any social networking or anything. It exploded. So as we can see, the need is definitely here that we need to be doing this. Some of the moments of the program that really made a difference, they liked going through the building and doing a building tour. They loved having lunch for sure. Marshmallow challenge, they really loved, and we did an egg drop challenge, and of course the elevator pitching. We do a lot of do's and don'ts about social media. I think that's really important as well to cover. And we do interviewing styles and techniques where we're asking questions, we provide them questions and answers, and then we just work with them one-on-one, help them how to write a resume, how to develop a LinkedIn profile, which is so important these days, and really starting to build your social network. Even if you don't have work experience, what are your abilities? What are your talents? And that's been very, very helpful. These are just some of the comments that we had from some of the mentors that would come within the program. I'll give you a second to read that and we'll go on. Okay, so I'm going to move on. And then again, most of all, I want everybody to have fun. This was, we always did some fun photos, and these were also some of the college students from San Jose State University that would come and help. And as we can see, it was really a lot of fun, great session. And that's it. So I'm definitely open for questions.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm definitely going to open it up to anybody who wants to ask a question. I know we have a couple parents here of high school students. So I want to open it up to anybody. You can either type your question in the chat and I can read it for you, or you feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question as well.
Sure.
I have a question for Cheryl.
Hi, Tom.
Howdy. So I work at ServiceNow here in San Diego, and our CEO is the former CEO of SAP, Bill McDermott.
Oh my gosh, how funny.
Yeah. And so being here, my son is 17, he turns 18 next month. I guess like any thoughts or ideas of how to potentially get something like this into ServiceNow, because we're a global company. Obviously, we're headquartered up there in Silicon Valley, in Santa Clara, but just from a local area here in the office, any just ideas of what you think?
Yeah, just definitely reach out and we can talk further to brainstorm that, because my mission too, I would love for other organizations to do what I'm doing, because that just makes it that much more bigger and impactful. I love Bill. He's such a great guy. I've had many opportunities to meet him. But yeah, I love it. He's a great guy. He's tall. You don't realize how tall he is until you stand next to him.
Yeah, he's a dynamic personality and very amazingly very personable.
Yes, very much.
And we share a lot of things that similarities of growing up and family business and things. So it's been fun getting to know him. So
nice.
It's great to be able to leverage that if possible.
Yeah, and definitely. And I'm more than happy to talk to you about it and him and, you know, and launch. It just really comes to the dedication of the employees wanting to get involved. But yeah, you can get my info from Rebecca or from Dana, and I'd love to chat to you more about that.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you, Tom. Tamar, you can go next.
Okay, thank you. So nice to meet you. Thank you very much for your presentation. I was very impressed. My daughter is 15 and she's very high functioning, and she told me the other day that she was interested in once the pandemic is over, it's safe, she wants to get to working. So she wants to work at Jamba Juice. I was really excited about that.
Great. Yeah.
So I'm interested in finding out more information. So to help her get into a program that can get her assimilated into a work environment. I think she'll do well, but what really scared me is that she said she wants to talk about moving out when she's ready after college. So I was just wondering, as a mom, have you had those conversations with your daughter? Has she moved out? Does she live at home?
She still lives at home. It's just so expensive, you know, when it comes down to the reality of, can they afford it on a minimum wage job? No, you know, but don't give up that passion for them to have that independence, for sure. You know, there's so many ways that you can still teach that at home, you know, inspiring them, you know, take a cooking class, an online cooking class, have them start making some meals, you know, making a list of doing chores around the house. And what would you do if, or even sending them to the grocery store? That's a huge one. Give them a list. And if they can't find something, they have to go and ask somebody to help. You know, so it's helping them learn those independent skills that, you know, aren't taught in high school. And, you know, we kind of just do it as a mom because we've been the mom. Well, I'll just go. It's just easier if I just go. But you got to give that to them.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll keep
Sure.
working on that with her. I just got a little nervous when she said it, but of course I smiled and said, okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah,
So thank
it'll
you.
be, yeah. But you know, that's good. That's a good goal. That's a really good goal.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you, Mar. Okay, Jeff, you can go next. I know you have your hand raised.
Okay. Yeah. So, Cheryl, great job on the presentation. If you've noticed in the chat wall, I created a presentation about the importance of neurodiversity, demonstrated by Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So if you ever want me to present it to your organization, you can reach out to me and we can work something out.
That's great. Thank you, Jeff. I love that idea.
And,
Thank you.
and I posted the link in the chat wall if anyone else wants to take a look at it.
That'd be great. Rebecca, can you send that to me?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll include it in the recap email too.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Thank you.
We
Thank
do
you, Jeff.
have one
You're
last
welcome.
question from Kelly. She says, do you have a high school mentor program in the summer for kids not in the Bay Area? And so are they able to travel to the Bay Area during summer to join your program?
Yeah, so when I was actually at SAP, I was thinking about even developing a more intense program, like a 2-week program or a week program where they spend much more time, and we'd have people really focusing on the job aspect and doing just some different kind of ways that we would, more kind of like what SAP does for their Autism at Work internship program, the way they get into that program. So it's still a thought, but not yet, but definitely. And I'm not looking at this now that it's not in a corporation or it's on Saturdays. It's not going to be just through this certain part of the school year, you know. So we're still defining all that, but we were just so anxious to just get it started.
Thank you. Wonderful. Oh, one more question. Does anyone have experience with a child on the spectrum who has gone out of state for college? Do you know of anybody? Cheryl?
Trying to think we actually had one of ours. Remember Sabine?
Yeah.
Dana?
Yeah.
Well, her family moved out of the country, right?
Yeah.
And then with the pandemic, Sabine ended up having to go with them, but she was here, wasn't she?
Yeah, I see her mom posting on Facebook out of the country, but I don't know all the details.
Yeah.
I do have a family that Rebecca and I need to get more information from, who looked at colleges on the West Coast that have supports for someone on the autism spectrum, and there wasn't anything from their point of view. They hired a consultant like that walked them through based on their son's needs. And so I need to bring that person on, and I can keep you in the loop on this, Cheryl, but their son there was only 3 options and none in California. It was Arizona and Colorado, I think, and Oregon. And so their son is in Oregon at a program, and he's loving it. And I've asked his mom to get me, I think who we want to have on is the person they hired that knows the college options. The other person we've had on before, Kelly, is the executive director at the Kinney Center at St. Joseph University in Philadelphia. And that program's been going on a long time, and they were also part of our neuroscience conference. So there are some programs out there, but I think, just so you know, Kelly, we'll work on bringing someone in that's who families have been hiring. I don't know if you know someone like that, Cheryl.
I don't in that aspect, no. I know it's not easy.
Yeah, I was only one family I know that's actually hired somebody that has knowledge about colleges for people on the spectrum. So I've already been wanting to bring that person on, so we'll work harder on that.
Great.
It's on our list.
Yeah.
Well, Kimberly, I'd love to get your contact info too. I'm glad if you signed up through the RSVP link, please feel free to reach out to me and we'll stay connected through all that. And thank you to everyone who has joined us today. This was such a great lunch and learn. I wanted to
thank you.
group picture before we go, of course. So everybody, if you want to turn your camera on, now's the time. We'd love to see all your smiling faces. Give everyone a minute. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Cheryl, again.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And I hope everyone has a great week. We hope to
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, guys.